So I've noticed I tend to take a lot of time that isn't necessary to complete tasks. So today what I'm going to be going over is how to efficiently manage and structure your time to make sure that you're getting things done in a timely fashion. I know I've said time like probably 5 or 6 times at this point. But yeah, that's going to be our focus for today. I'm going to be going over some of the tools that I used when I initially started doing sales. When I worked for Cutco, one of the best pieces of value that I took away from working with the company was something that my manager had actually provided for me. Essentially, what happened was during the summertime, we were getting ready for a big competition that our company had, or that the company does every single summer. And during that time period, your goal is to essentially sell as much as possible within a 2.5 week time period. So the way to set yourself up for success during that competition was to effectively manage your time. And one of the tools that my manager had provided was a schedule that we could use on Google Sheets to be able to track out and block off time chunks. So we'll be going over our tool that we've been using on Sheets, that we used to use on Sheets, I should say. It's been a while since I've actually implemented it, but given, I've noticed I could be getting some of this stuff done faster. Some of the things I have on my to-do list is just putting together the Discord, finishing up my contract. I preferably want to have my first contract done and ready to post on the Discord by the time I have it set up. But yeah, those are honestly like the main things: getting the base contract for fund distribution finished, getting a market contract set up, setting up my Discord. So just getting the ball rolling with some of these projects, given I've spent, we're now on day 11. So I'll go ahead and show you guys how the Google Sheets looks and how you can set it up. But before we jump into the Google Sheets is going to be a good outline and calendar to be able to use to effectively chunk off bits of time throughout your week to work on projects, to set up meetings. I've found the best way to use it is by blocking off time chunks that cannot move. So it may be a set meeting, it may be an event, but things that are for sure going to happen during that time period, during a specific time period, you're going to use the Google Sheets to be able to plan and map out. Now, the tool that is effective to use in conjunction with the Google Sheets document is going to be using something like Notes. I personally use Notes. You can use other things such as Google Docs, but essentially just setting up a list of different objectives that you may have for a large overarching goal. So we'll be using Notes to be able to list out our objectives and add time deadlines to them, so times that we want to have them finished. And then we'll be using the Google Sheets to effectively plan our time to make sure that we can have those objectives met by their set due dates. So first, I will go over my own personal to-do list that I had set up last night. So the way that I'm going to be doing my notes, this is just a rough outline. I'm sure as we get a little bit more efficient with systemizing this, we'll have a little bit more organized method of laying out these objectives. But this is just what I'm looking at as far as things that I need to get done for moving on to the next steps, next phases, which would be networking and connecting with people that we can use these smart contracts with. I already have a few ideas that I'll be using myself, but I do understand, especially for our long-term goals, we will want to network with people who are experts in their field and who could benefit from using the technology in the first place. So essentially, my current checkpoints, this is kind of just going to be what I work on for the week. The first objective that I'm going to be getting done this week is going to be finishing the base smart contracts. Now, I've been running into some issues with Remix. I think I figured it out. I essentially just reset my computer. I'm not the most tech-savvy person, funny enough, given I'm learning how to code smart contracts, but Remix wasn't allowing me to use it on my computer for the last day or so. So I figured out how to get it set up, but it was already kind of late in the day. And I want to make sure I have a few hours that I can, just go into a deep work state to be able to finish the base contract. So I'll be touching on this, maybe some tonight, but definitely the majority of the day tomorrow is going to be focused on finishing our base contract. Now, for the base, the key features that need to be implemented into the contract are just these four. Like I mentioned, I think, honestly, especially for beginners, the best way to set up these contracts is going to be keeping it as simple as possible. Like I mentioned, thinking like an engineer. So we have the 4 key functions that need to exist for our contracts to provide value to people, which is having a min price that the owner can set, a supply price that the owner can set. Both of these need to be adjustable as well for scalability. A recovery address. So in the event the owner loses access to the main owner address, they can have a secondary recovery address that they can use to log in and regain access to the contract. And then the last feature is going to be fund distribution. So this is going to be the owner's ability to send out Ethereum using the contract to people who own the NFT. So these 4 concepts are integral to what we're going to be building on the blockchain. The potential ideas I will be also be integrating into the base contract once I can ensure everything is working smoothly here is going to be an anti-theft and an anti-loss system. Essentially just mechanisms. So if people lose access to their wallet that holds their NFT, or if somebody unfortunately falls for a scam and they get their wallet liquidated and their NFT stolen, I'll be implementing features that can hedge against those type of issues to be able to provide as much value as I can for the people who participate in the project. So again, the base contract, that is going to be our main task, and I want to have that finished by tomorrow night. So hopefully, I'm not even going to say hopefully, you shouldn't think hopefully, it's do or don't. So we're going to work on this tomorrow, and we're going to get this base contract finished with what we can achieve with ChatGPT, given our current limits. But anywho, on to the next thing, the marketplace contract. So this is going to be the ability for people to list their NFTs for sale, receive bid offers, as well as the base contract owner OX offers for us. But when people start using these contracts for themselves, royalties can be implemented. So when NFT minters decide, if they decide to sell their NFTs, the base contract owner is able to receive a cut of the sale price, which for us, I think 2.8% is fair. And given how much value each project is going to have in the first place, I don't even think people are going to want to sell their NFTs. That's kind of why I have this marketplace contract as a separate contract that can interact with the first. This also does give us the ability to make edits to the marketplace contract without it affecting our original code for, fund distribution, mints, increasing supply price, et cetera, et cetera. So that'll be the second objective. This we should be able to have finished by, I think the third would be either Wednesday or Thursday. What day is it? Today's the 30th, actually. So this should be Thursday, I believe, then would be the third. I do also need to get the Discord set up. Now, as far as a date that I want to have it initially released, I am very nostalgic with numbers. I will probably be giving a little bit more insight as to why I'm very specific with choosing different dates, but I'm not going to have that be the focus of the video. Setting up the Discord, though, that is on the list of to-dos. So for those who have been wanting to connect, talk about these ideas, I will be having a platform that people can network, as well as people can use it as a place to upload their own smart contracts, discuss ideas. The main goal is going to be to have it be a place that people can come together to build on the blockchain. Now, in addition to the Discord, another tool that I'll be opening up for people to learn directly from me is going to be with the utilization of school games. So many of you guys may know Alex Hormozy. He partnered with the owner of School last year to be able to bring this to a much bigger audience. And it's been really cool, honestly. I predicted that he would do very well this year, and he has. So we will be looking into how to integrate that ourselves so that we can teach people not only how to code these smart contracts and set them up for different use cases, but how they can actually market their projects. So once they have everything set up with the contracts, with their use case, they're then able to target a specific audience that they can sell the NFTs, raise funds, and provide value to their specific target group. So those are the immediate objectives that we're looking at. I know November 11th is quite a ways out, but given I am fairly new to learning how to code smart contracts myself, it does give me time to get a little bit more better attuned with what needs to be in place to make it very streamlined for someone who's just entering the space. And November 11th, it's going to be a very good day to have some stuff started. So that's why I have November 11th picked. I still do need to determine what day I'm going to be setting up my Discord, but I'm sure I will be announcing that in the relative soon future. Now, my later ideas, I will have those compiled down below. And, as far as later ideas, one of the things I do plan to implement with my NFT projects is going to be allowing people to use the NFTs as collateral for loans. So if you look at the richest people in the world, a lot of times like they don't ever actually make money on a technical basis. That's how they're able to avoid taxes. If you look at Elon Musk, for example, people talk about he needs to be taxed and this and that, but the majority of his wealth is tied into his equity with his companies. He doesn't actually receive a paycheck or sell his stock. What he does whenever he needs money is he borrows against his stock. This is how he had actually ended up buying Twitter. Essentially, he took out loans against Tesla, and those loans are backed by Tesla as the collateral. So as long as Tesla's value stays at a certain threshold price, I believe it's above $69 a share. As long as it stays above that threshold, the collateral stays secured, and he's able to have that loan be ongoing. Now, the problem is if Tesla, for whatever reason, dips below $70 a share, he may be looking at a liquidation, which is essentially where the bank calls your loan due. And if you're not able to provide the funds to repay the loan, well, then they're going to take your collateral and they're going to liquidate it to be able to come up with the funds to pay off the loan itself. So that's kind of the overview that Elon Musk is looking at. But the main concept that I'm wanting you guys to understand is instead of selling his stock where he would have to pay capital gains taxes on it, he's taking out a loan and allowing the stock itself to pay off that loan. Genius plan. So that's what we're going to be doing with our NFTs. Same concept. People will be able to take the NFTs from these projects and put them into a system that will hold it in escrow as collateral. And then, somebody who is on the Ethereum network, they can come and they can say, hey, I saw that you put up one of your NFTs for a loan. What type of percentage returns are you offering? And so, the owner of the NFT and the potential lender, they can negotiate terms such as percentage, whether there's a balloon. So if they're making monthly payments versus paying it off at the end of a certain term, as well as the amortization period, which is essentially how many months or years you're planning to have that loan be paid, whether that's through monthly installments, monthly payments, or through a balloon system. The amortization is essentially just telling you how long the loan lasts for. So the cool thing about the system we're setting up is since these NFTs, they are going to pay a certain percentage each month. The idea is that people can use the cash flow that their NFT produces to pay off the loan. So the cool thing with that is if they negotiate a percentage with a lender that is lower than the percentage that the NFT offers, they can still be earning cash flow on their NFT while paying off the loan, which essentially is going to allow them to, access more liquidity. So instead of having to sell their NFT, they can just take out a loan against it the same way that the richest people in the world do with their own assets. So that's going to be an idea that we work on after we get the marketplace contract set up for sure. I do want to have, like I said, these anti-theft and anti-loss mechanisms integrated with the base smart contract. So as far as a date, this is kind of open-ended, but we will be looking to have this set up most likely by this year. I would like to have a lot of the contracts that I'm going to be using next year already set up and written. So by the time we go into next year, we're strictly just going at, scalability. How many projects can we do in a certain time? How many people can we work with? How many people can we give access to, the materials and the tools that we're putting together? So Yeah, this is how I'm going to keep track of my objectives. Now, as far as scheduling time to work on each of these objectives, that is what we're going to use the Google Sheets my Cutco manager had helped me set up way back when in 2020. So I'll go ahead and load that up. So this is the tool that my manager from Cutco had helped me learn how to use for effectively managing my time throughout the week, especially given the fact we were doing, an hour to an hour and a half long presentations with anywhere between 10 to 30 people. Managing your time, especially if you're dealing with a high volume of activities, is going to be essential for not only making sure that you can effectively get everything done that's in your itinerary, but at the same time, making sure that you're not wasting time. Because often when we have just, an open free schedule, there's going to be a lot of gaps in between things that we're actually working on that could be put towards doing something that is productive. So first, whenever you're wanting to set up the schedule for a new week, it's really easy. You just hit duplicate. So it'll pop up a new bubble, and then you can just set this for whatever the first day of the next week is going to be. So once you've labeled the tab, changing the date is really easy. You just double click, and then it will load up the calendar. So it should automatically load up the day that is currently set, which would be the 30th, but you can always navigate with the arrows to arrive to the month that you're trying to set things up for. So now, once everything is set as far as the days, the times, the top will automatically update, but you want to fill in the middle section. Now, there's a lot of people who are going to tell you all types of different things as far as a routine. Just figure out what works for you. It doesn't need to be overly complicated. Honestly, for me, what I found best is as soon as I wake up, just drinking some water, going outside, taking a shower, and then eat my first meal. That's good enough for me to get going. Some people may be different. Do what works best for you. Experiment, write out what your routine is, and then build a habit of doing it each and every day. You can even set up another, Google Sheet that's almost like a checklist for you. So you can mark out, this day I completed each of these different parts of my routine. And over time, it'll just become such a natural habit. You don't even need to check your sheet. But you should use the sheet at least for 30 days, I would recommend. So anywho, as far as setting up your time chunks, the way that you set up a block is, let's say, you're planning to work from 8 to 12. You'll just grab and drag so that it highlights the amount of time that you're looking to work for. And then you can click the borders right here to set up borders that will outline the block. Now, to make things easy to see, I like using the thickest borders we can grab. We like them thick. And let's say for work, it's a Sunday, so we'll use blue for work. And, you can just label this whatever you're wanting to actually work on. So we'll just say deep work session. Now, the reason I label this deep work session is because, for one, it's good to keep it open-ended, but I found the best ways that I work is essentially just trying to get into flow state where I'm not even looking at the clock. I'm just completely focused in on whatever I'm doing, whether that's drawing, whether that's coding, whether that's trading. I found that I have the most effective work sessions when I'm able to just work for hours at a time without thinking about anything else but what is in front of me. So I like to use these deep work sessions, but you want to use this more for things that are set, things that are going to need to happen. So if you have a meeting on Wednesday at 3 to 5, you can highlight 3 to 5 and you can time block that off. So essentially, yeah, that's how you go about setting up the time blocks. It's pretty easy to manage. I like using these in conjunction with notes. You can also include your to-do list over here on the side. So that way, as you're planning your week and you're time chunking different segments off, you can coordinate those with different objectives that you have set to make sure you can hit everything in a timely manner. So with those two tools, it should become a little bit easier to be able to manage your timelines, which I think is going to be important for myself, just given a lot of times if I have an open-ended date, I'll take more time than actually is needed to complete certain tasks. So by utilizing notes to track down different objectives and map out timelines and using Google Sheets to manage my week, I think it'll be an effective way to make sure that we stay on track with our goals and stay moving on our objectives within a timely manner. So with that being said, if you guys would like to use the Google Sheets tool, I will link that below in the description, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.